Okay, so last night I was listening to a podcast the other day with the John Cleese, and I don't know if you know who he is, even if you don't know who he is, because he is the co-creator of Monty Python. In fact, I think I've quoted him before in something, whether it was one of my lives or an email, because he's highly quotable for all the reasons. But he also wrote and starred in A Fish Called Wanda. He's an amazing creative soul. Well, he recently wrote this little book called Creativity, and it's so cute. It reminded me of almost like a childlike book. The way that he wrote it is very intentionally very simple, very short. I mean, I read the entire thing last night. I highly recommend it. I bought it from a library, so it wasn't very expensive on Amazon, but I highly recommend it. And it's also got like the old school textured paper going on, like the library book paper. Some new books I've noticed are like too smooth. Too smooth. I want some nice texture to my pages. Anyway, great book and has some really short, simple ideas about creativity. But he had an entire section of the book focused on play and why the creative mind, the difference between. So, okay, here, I'll actually tell you about the study. He knew somebody who did a study about creativity, and what they had done was look at architects, and they looked at architects who were more creative architects, the people who would kind of think outside the box, or the non-creative architects, and what is the difference between these two groups of architects. And what they found is that the creative architects had more fun. They played more. And what they mean by played more is not that they were like playing with their Star Wars characters. They might have been, but what they did was they would go in different directions with their ideas. They would try things without fear of it failing. They would do a sketch not knowing what direction it might go in, whereas the architects who were considered not creative, they would not allow themselves to go explore and have a little bit of fun and play with the ideas. They didn't take the idea itself and start to play around with it. And so what he's saying is that people who are creative are willing to have a little bit of fun, are willing to play. He says children at play are totally spontaneous. They are not trying to avoid making mistakes. They don't observe rules. It would be stupid to say to them, no, you're not doing that right. Like my niece right now who's learning to walk and dance, if I was like, why are you dragging your left foot like that? You're not doing it right. That it wouldn't make any sense to her, obviously. Most adults, by contrast, find it hard to be playful. No doubt because they have to take care of all the responsibilities that come in an adult's life. But creative adults, however, have not forgotten how to play. I thought that was very interesting. And again, I highly recommend this book. It's super short and sweet and fun, and he communicates his ideas very simply, and it's a nice little book. He's in lots of he's been doing a podcast tour for his book, so he's also a delight to listen to. So if you can catch any podcasts with our friend John, I highly recommend it. He also, this quote on the back speaks to my heart. There's a myth that creativity is something you have to be born with. This isn't the case. Anyone can be creative. This is coming from the dude who wrote Monty Python. He believes in you. So you should believe in your own creativity. Yeah, he's so wonderful. So I wanted to just share a little bit about that